the NCAA obviously passed that fair play, the California with the Fair Play Act, and just what's your thoughts on how it could possibly, if it continues that way, could affect the competitive balance across college football?
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things that be careful what you wish for. A lot of loopholes we've seen. They drive trucks through them. I can't visualize how that would be a competitive advantage, or how that would work. I've really kind of thought all the different solutions or things that you could do, and my feeling would be that college football is that's an amateur status. I think there's about 300,000 college football players, and then there's pro football. About 2,000 NFL players per year. I think the fair thing to do would be not to restrict players to have to stay in college for 3 years. They could turn pro at any point. They could be drafted after their freshman year. They could be drafted after their sophomore year. They could be drafted after their junior year, their senior year, and that would also make a rule that if they weren't drafted, they could return to college. And I think it'd also be very productive to, if somebody were to leave after their freshman or sophomore or junior year and they hadn't finished their degree, that they would have the ability within a certain time span to come back and to finish their degree. That would be what I would suggest and propose. And you have examples of other sports. You have hockey, you have baseball, you have basketball. What do you think?
So that's something you would lead the conversation with through the Coaches Association. You have that annual meeting, I guess, in January, I guess, when
I'd be happy to propose that. Yeah, that's something I think would be beneficial and fair to everybody. I think that when there's a restricted nature to something, which is you have to be a college football player for 3 years before you're eligible to be drafted. I would say the other would be better. If you're a tennis player, you'd like to be a professional tennis player at 17, you can be a professional tennis player at 17. And to give the opportunity to somebody to be a professional football player when they're 19, 20, 21. It's not a long time that there's a window to be a professional football player if somebody's good enough to do that. And then could return and finish their college degree, and probably would be appreciated more, and not taken for granted, and looked at for the value that it is. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a college education these days, plus room, board, books, and tuition. And there are some that are good enough to be professional athletes, football players, and some that aren't. But to me, that would be a good resolution to the conversation we're having.
In the front left, Aaron.
Kind of going off that, do you foresee this new law in California giving those California schools a recruiting edge? I mean, they come to those kids and tell them that this is law. The other states, it's not.
I don't know. I don't know how that would work. We'd be hypotheticals about that.
In the middle, Isaiah.
Daxton Hill, what did you see from him going?
It's just you don't know which way, you don't know where things would go, because there's such different rules for each sport, right? I mean, basketball is one and done, hockey, they could be drafted and then returned to college. Maybe a standard way of doing it would be clear and concise, good for, then there's an amateur game and then there's a pro game.